Welcome everyone. Now I'm going to talk about the Vim, the VI improved editor, which is a text editor in Linux for a Windows user. I myself come from Windows background. I've got a lot of experience working with Windows and the struggle I find while using Vim or learning Vim. Vim is an important tool for every Linux user. So if you are working on Linux, you need to work with Vim, and Vim is something loved by many people. And there is a philosophy behind Vim, why it is different than any other editor you might have used in your lifetime with Windows, with Linux, in terms of graphical editor or non-graphical editor. Because the concept of Vim starts with not adding data into it. It's always starts with editing data. So assume that you have something in your file, you doing a proofreading to the file and modifying some of the things, right? That's what the concept is. So that's why when you open a file, you open the file in something like an edit mode, not in add mode. So insert is not by default. So let's see how it looks like. So if I come over here in my machine, so what I'm right now using is WSL and running on top of Windows 10. So let me go to my home directory, which is mapped to one of the local Windows folder. So if I see here, there are a couple of files. And if I go into, let's say, uh, the file called save and try to open in the Vim. So when you type VIM and the file name, if the file exists, then it'll open the file. If the file doesn't exist, it will create the file. So let's use this, and you can see that it has some content. Now, one of the challenges which Windows user faces while using Vim is that how they get exit out of this file, because unlike Windows, when you open Notepad or Word file, it opens in different window, but it is always in the same terminal. So you have to go back into the terminal where you were typing the command. That's a shell terminal, right? How do you go back? It all starts with something like a colon. So you press Shift and press the button next to L, that is semicolon and colon, so the double dot. You press that, you can see at the bottom of the file, it appears. Now there are two ways by which you can exit. One is that you exit without saving, that is Q, that's quit, and exclamation, that means you don't want to save anything. So you just do that, and then it comes out in the same shell window. So if you see that, I can now do the same thing. Now, if I want to open another file, right, and then let's say I do a typing mistake over here, and I say save one. What happens now? Vim gonna go ahead and try to find if I have any file in this folder. If there is nothing, then it will open the file. And notice here in Linux world, you don't need to really worry too much about the extension. So you can have an extension, you can skip that extension. All are part of the same file name. So you just open that, and it opens a plain canvas, right? It's tilde signs means that there are all empty places, but at the bottom of the file, it talks about the status bar, so which you see in the Visual Studio Code or any editor, all the status bar, like line number, where you are, what you are trying to do. So you need to keep an eye in this status bar, what exactly you are trying to do. So now notice here, if I now have to enter any record and I start typing, it won't happen. Now I have to type something called I to begin with. Now, Vim has a concept of mode, right? So you need to understand which mode you are in. So currently I'm in reading mode. So I can move my cursor up and down. That's a typical movement we talk about in Vim, and how that happens. The movement generally happens like this. So if I start writing the movement here, if you want to move, let's say, forward, you use L, that is equal to forward, okay? And then H is backward, back. Up is K, okay, up, and J is down. So these are all the key together, and in the keyboard you have a little uh, touch sensitivity in the J, so you can feel the J in the keyboard without looking into the key. So it will reach out to your index finger of the right hand, so you can easily move things here. So we see that it is all about movement. Right now I do not have anything, so I will not be able to move anything, but let me insert a record. And as I said, to insert a record, what you need to do is that you need to first move it into that mode, right? Because it is right now in the edit mode or read mode, I cannot modify anything, so I go into the insert mode. That basically opens up the insert mode. If you see in the bottom of the screen says insert, right? So that basically indicates that I'm right now the insert mode. Now I can type, this is a lesson for Vim. Vim is the best editor available. So I'm just typing few lines. This is a test, okay? And I can see that it's like a normal, if I type in Notepad, I can do pretty much everything over here. Now, once I am done with the typing, I can come out of the insert mode and go back to the edit mode. And to switch between these modes, you need to press escape key. So if you press escape, it goes into the edit mode. Now, if you start typing, it won't type. It will take those individual keystrokes as command. If the Vim has a command for, let's say, J, which is a movement command, then it will move the cursor, but it will not type J. Okay. So now if I want to go to the, let's say, a line above, right, what I need to do, I need to press K. If I press K, you can see that now cursor is moving up, right? It is going up. And then if I press J, it will come down. Now, if I have to go at the end of the line, I can use L to move the cursor. So it is like your arrow key. So instead of using 4 arrows, you use J to move down, K to move up, H to move left, L to move right. Now you see here, if I go in the line where I have few characters both in the right and left, and I start typing H, it goes at the beginning. Now you can see that in the status bar, H is coming, right? It shows that I'm now typing H. You can easily see before the number 1 comma 1, it shows me the H. So that's the position of my cursor. So right now I am in the row number 1 and column number 1. That's a character number 1. Now if I move one place ahead, it is the row number 1, character number 2, and it indicates that H is being typed by the user, right? So you can just see the position and the location of your file later. So if I say that I want to go down, and I go down, and let's say I want to insert something over here, I go here and I say insert. This was a blank line. I inserted that, I put a stop, and then I come out of that. I have not yet saved the file. Now, because I have added a lot of text into this file, I will not be exiting this file without saving it if I need to store it somewhere. So to exit, remember that you press shift and semicolon, that becomes colon, right? Double dot. And then you exit by after writing something and then saving. So you say WQ, W for write. So that's so natural. Once you start practicing, you will remember this. W write, Q quit, and we're not using exclamation here. So you just say enter. So it saves the file. Now, Vim saves the file to save one. If I retype the whole thing, it opens the same file with the same position I was in earlier, and you can see that it now shows me everything. Now, this is the basic of um, Understanding Vim, that Vim is an editor, which means that you open a file, an existing file, and start modifying the context of the file. When you have to enter anything, it doesn't open by default in a write mode. So you need to open it in write mode by pressing the I key. To move when you are in the edit mode, bit up and down, you use the letter LJK, LHKJ. That's four letter together in the keyboard. You find them next to each other, right? And then you need to change the mode between insert and edit, right? So whichever mode you want to work on. And then if you, let's say, do something over here, I go into the insert mode, and then let me fill that line also. This, sorry, this was also blank. I added this line and put a comma. I will go down. Now this time you can use arrow key, because this time the JKLH will not work because it's in insert mode. So they will basically type all those letters. So you can use now arrow key. Now if I go down and say line 9, okay, that's line number 9. This is line number 17 because they are showing up at the below. You can see my cursor position. So I can just type line 22. So it's easy. Now I can say here again line 28. So I basically wanted to fill a few of the areas in the thing, and then remember to say colon. You cannot put colon while you are in insert mode. So you can see here, if I put colon, it just types things in the file, which is what I don't want. So I first need to come out of the insert mode by pressing escape and then say colon W, that is write, Q, quit, and it comes out of that file. And you go back to the bash window, and then you can see that I can just say less, and then it shows the save. If I say vim save one, it opens the same file with my cursor's last position, so it also remembers that in the context. Now we have seen few things like how we can edit and how we can add files. Now, let's say I have done some work in this file. So if I, let's say, go into insert mode and use the arrow key to go to line, this is to show the undo. Okay. If I do that now to delete, right? So let's just save it first. Okay. So if I say colon, come out of the insert colon WQ, it will save, it will come back, and then I start modifying. So I want to go up, use K, use L to move character by character. You can move word by word also, so we'll see all those movement things. But at this moment, just imagine that you just need to move one by one. So use L, and then I want to delete it. To delete a character, you can use X. It will just delete a single thing. So I deleted. Now I find that no. I didn't want to delete this actually. So it's an undo. So to undo, when you are in edit mode, you should type small u. You can see that the moment you type small u, it goes back into the previous state. So you keep on typing the small u, it goes back to the history, right? So you can see what is the change you have made. Now let me make some changes. So I change this, I move ahead, and then I also delete this. So and then I see undo. Okay, I do undo, escape, undo. It changed the number 7. Now you can see that there are a lot of actions which have happened in this context, and it keeps a tab of what is the number. So if you have used, let's say, um, Photoshop, and then it keeps the history. If you have used paint.net, it keeps the history. So you can go back to that history and then see what you have done. So it's like keeping tab of what you have done in that file. So if I keep on doing the undo, it will keep changing. Now I want to also move here, and then let's say change this, and I want to undo the whole thing. I press capital U, and it does undo for the whole thing in that same line, right? So if you don't want to press U multiple time, press capital U, that is Shift U, and then it will undo everything you might need to undo for the whole line, right? So all of them together. So you can see in the bottom, it shows already at oldest change, which means that you cannot undo anymore. Okay, that's what we mean. And then undo of undo, that is redo, is Control R. Okay, so Control R basically, if you let's say undo something, let's say you delete, and then you just say undo, and you come out with this, and you say Control R, it is undo of undo, that's redo. Okay, so you can do both undo and redo, which is very common in the Windows world, which we often do. Is available here as well, in a different keystroke combination. Now, what I wanted to do is that I want to bring, let's say, a line. Right now, I am in edit mode, so I can go up by pressing K. I can just I want to copy this line. Okay, that's a common thing we do in Windows, right? So we copy something and then we paste it. And to copy, we use a command called yank, that is Y. So if you say Y, it will yank the character you are right now at this point in time. So if I go down and I say paste, paste is P, that is this line. So you can see that it basically yanked and then pasted. So let me show you again. Huh? So if you yank and then if you paste, it pastes the whole line, right? So you can see that there is something wrong with this. So I don't want to do that. So let me undo this. So let me undo to the previous state, go up by pressing K, and then I want to copy the whole line. To copy the whole line, I go to the beginning of the line. Okay, you can go to the beginning of the line by pressing 0. That goes beginning of the line. If you want to go at the end of the first word or the word you are in, you press E. That's a movement, typical movement. If I keep pressing E, it moves the word. If I press 0, it goes to the beginning. If I press, let's say, W, it moves to the next word, right? E is end of the existing word. So if you see, like if I type W, again, it goes to next word, the first letter of the next word, first letter of the next word. If I goes back to the beginning 0, and if I press E, it is the end of the first word, end of the second word, end of the third word, so on and so forth. So these are all typical faster movement kind of thing. So if you want to, let's say, change anything after the second word while you are in the first word. So if you go to the press 0, it goes to the first word. Now, if you move 2 words ahead, you type 2W. So it moves 2 words ahead. If you want to change this A to, let's say, about, right? That means I want to replace this. You press small r to replace the existing letter. Now I say about. It didn't change anything because I kind of was typing A, so it replaced that. So I'll show you again. So if you say R and say B, it changes, but then it doesn't really work in a concept of modifying so on. So it is only one change, and then it comes out of that insert mode. So it goes back to the edit mode. Notice here the sequence. Huh? I just do undo. I am at A. I type R, that is, I want to replace this a specific letter. So I say R, and then it is in the change mode, which means whatever letter I type now, It will only replace A, and then it comes out of that mode into edit mode again. So if I say H, it will not move the cursor. It will change A to H. But again, if I type H, it now starts moving the cursor, right? That's the difference. Now, if you want to really undo again, if you really want to change A to about, right, replace, you say R, and you can see at the bottom of this file, it says replace. That means I keep typing, it keeps replacing. So let's see the experience. If I say about, now you can see that it is replacing everything in that, right? So that means I kind of losing all the things which I typed. I don't want to do that, right? So I come out of that mode by pressing escape and say U. That changes back to the same thing. So what I now want to do, let me say insert and then put it in a separate location so that you can see it better. Now let's say I want to change this into about. So if I say C, right? So let me just go out of that insert mode and I see I am below A, press C, it goes into change mode. So I can say I want to change this A, I'll say, let's say change, sorry, change C. I change that. Now you can see that it basically goes into a change mode. Now, if you want to, let's say, append something after A, so I want to, let's say, uh, change this A to about now, which means that I can delete this A and then start typing about. If I want to save something, I can move my cursor next to A and then say that BOUT. That is more convenient. So to do that, you can use small a, not in insert mode because it will not take the command. But if you go below this cursor and say small a, it goes into an insert mode after A, right? So you see that about. I can change it. Just notice here. I am I am after A in the edit mode. So if I, let's say, move my cursor, it moves. If I move back after A, it moves. So I'm not in the edit mode. Sorry, in the insert mode. I'm in the edit mode. At this point in time, if I press O or A, small a, it basically moves the cursor one place ahead and then makes it editable. Notice here again. So I'm at A, below A. I say A. It moves the cursor ahead and then say BOUT. And then I'm done with the changes. Similarly, if you have to add anything at the end of the line, you don't have to go till the end of the line. What you can say capital A. And it moves the cursor all through end of the line and say this is happened at the end of the line. So if you do that, then it basically does whatever you want to do. So it is kind of like saving. Now, I've done many changes, right? Let me not overwrite an existing file. Let me do a save as. That's a common thing we do in Windows, right? You can either do it in the bash, from bash also, you can just take the file and then copy the file with a different name. That will also save. We can do that. So come out of the insert mode, put a colon, right? Shift semicolon is a colon. You do that and you put W. Now this time you don't say quit, you say a file name, you give a space and you say save to. What happens? It will be written in save to. So let me come out of Q and then I say ls. You will find a second file called save to in the bash. So I will just clear it up. So you can see that save to shows up in the screen, right? And that's the file I want to really now open. So to do that, Vim save to, you see this is the file. I come out of that and then I open the save one, which is a different file. So it do not have the second line in the line. This is to show the undo. Okay. So we do not have anything over here. So it's different file, definitely different file. So I'll go back. Okay. And then stay there. Now we have seen how to save the file. Now let me open the file. Let's save to, and let me replace few things. So for example, I want to say, I want to find where is line 17. It's a small file, but you can see everything. But if you are working in a big file, you need to find it. To find something in Vim, use the slash, the forward slash, which is with the question mark sign in the keyboard. So forward slash next to shift. So you may have a different keyboard layout, but generally next to shift. So you press that forward slash, and you can see at the bottom of the Vim window, it shows up. The forward slash allows you to do search, which means then you can type anything you want to search. So you say line 17. So that's the thing. You can see that it is getting highlighted, right? Which means that now I am kind of get things. So for example, if you say this line, and then if you press enter, it goes into that line. So you basically put slash, and then you say that the search item, and then you type the word or letter you want to search, right? And then it does that, does find that thing. So if you really want to let's say replace this line into something, right? So what you can do over here is that you use something called S. So let me show you how you can replace this line with something. So you put a colon, okay? You come out of this, you put a colon, and you say S, okay? And you give the old string, which is line 17, and then I change this line, let's say change this line to my lines, and then I do it for everything global. So you can see that it changed once, and I can just keep on doing the changes, or I can say that I want to do change to line. There's only one line, so there are two different modes, like case sensitive and case insensitive. You can set that up also. So if I say line, my line, and GC, it didn't find anything. So let me try that out. So it basically should replace everything in the whole this thing, every occurrence. To do that, so I think you need to just type this as line slash my line slash GC, and then it asks you the confirmation. I say yes, yes. You can see that it is going into each of the line. Again, let's do it again. Colon percent s slash, this time I'll replace my line back to line, okay? And I say GC, it will ask for the confirmation if I say GC. So if I say yes, and it will ask if you type capital Y, that means it will replace all. But if you just do Y, it will show you what it is changing. You say Y or N, or just do all, okay? So it changes everything. So if you are doing like only G. Let's try to do that again. This semicolon, this is quite useful. That's why I'm doing it again and again. If I say line slash my, and this time I'll put it capital L, and then I say G, it will not ask for the confirmation. So it will just replace everything. So you just know what you are doing and you modify. So it basically replaces everything, right? um, you have seen how to replace that. Now what I wanted to do, tell you that, let's say I want to delete a word, so there are a lot of motion syntax available in Vim. So let me go a little up, and I say that I have deleted. So to delete the word, delete a line, first let me show you how to delete the line. Delete a line, you say dd, small dd, it'll delete the line. Okay, and this is an action, and this is a keystroke, and Vim remembers the last keystroke. And also Vim, if you do delete a line, Vim remembers the last text and keeps it in the cache. Now you can just press P and it will just insert the line. That is line 9. If you come over here, press P, you don't find anything because then the cache is cleaned, right? So it's one time only. So notice here, if I say dd, it deletes. I come a little down and then I say p, that's paste, the cut line. Only once, cut paste. It will not paste again and again. To do that, if you have to really copy and then paste it again and again, go into visual mode, that is press V. When you are in edit mode, you can see that it is visual mode, and then you can select the whole line, and you select the whole line and say yonk, and then you go down and then paste. It'll paste here, paste, it'll paste here, paste, it'll paste here. This is also very convenient. Select by V, move your cursor to select an area, and then press Y to yonk and press P to paste. So it is basically select, copy, paste. Okay, so you don't always do a cut paste, you can also do copy paste. So if you have to do both, which is common in Windows world, you do it. Now what is important is that I want to, let's say, delete um, delete few words. So to delete a word in Vim, you use DW. That's delete the word. Okay, it just replaces the, deletes the word DW. So if you have to delete this word, you say DW. You can see that it starts from wherever the cursor is and deletes the whole word. So if I am here, it'll delete till the end of the word. It will not take. So if I have to repeat the task, right, I do not need to always type DW. I can say dot. Dot is a repeat action in Vim. So you do one thing and then you want to repeat the same thing, you put a dot and it'll do the same thing. So you should always think about like whether you can use dot operator next. And that way you can make yourself more efficient by choosing the way of working, because one task can be achieved in multiple different ways. For example, if you want to replace a word, you can replace that word in many different ways, but you want to take an approach which is repeatable. So if you have to take that same action again and again in a larger file, especially when you write code, you do this, the kind of activity, you need to do it in a repeatable fashion. If you can make something which is repeatable, use that WAP approach and then press dot for the next action. You don't have to take the whole action. So that's a small tip I wanted to give, and I think it is like already half an hour, which is more than enough for you to kickstart. My intention was to help you as a Windows user, which I faced a challenge while trying out to understand Vim, right? Because Vim is the most important and mandatory editor for every Linux user. So you need to learn and work on Vim on a frequent basis. There are editors like Nano, etc., but Vim is something which is the most powerful, I must say, and it's most oldest one and oldest surviving and the default editor available all across all different distros, right? So if you have the bare metal, let's say BusyBox container, you will find Vim over there. You might not find Nano in every distribution, but Vim is available in every distribution. So you might not want to, let's say, download an exist another editor and just to modify the file. Instead, you should learn Vim, which is default available in every distro. So that's why Vim is so important. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and I hope this was helpful. And I'm sure that you will learn the fun of understanding the Vim. One small tip for Vim is that I wanted to quickly show you is when you are working on Vim and then trying to learn Vim, there are many different ways to learn Vim, but the best and the most native is that use Vim Tutor. Vim Tutor is a inline tutorial available with your Linux, which helps you learn the Vim. So you can see that it has lessons. So I think lesson 1 to 7, and it you can just follow along, and then you can just change things in the same window. So you don't have to switch out of that to do something. So if you, let's say, are in lesson 1, it says that go below the line and then follow the instruction. How do you quit it, right? How do you make some changes? So for example, if you want to delete, press X, but you can do it here, right? So for example, there are some mistakes in this line which you might want to modify. So let's say delete this X. If you press delete, it will not delete. You need to press X. So it tells you that you do it here only so that you can learn while reading it out. So it's basically practical and theory together, and it makes you comfortable. So you don't have to do everything together. Do it slowly. So do it one by one, and then learn and understand and try to practice it. So it is all about muscle memory, and hope you will enjoy this and hope it was helpful. Thank you very much.